All right, Chris, we're back here with another week of Silver Shield releases. This week we have St. Michael available to the public and Michael Silver available to Silver Shield group members. So before getting into the two new coin releases, I just wanted to get your take on how did you feel about last week within the silver market and what's been going on?
Yeah, no, this is an exciting time to be involved in silver because silver is down almost 50% from its high originally this year. Went up to $120 and now it's down to about low 60s. And this is the time where you really need to be disciplined and to stack on a consistent basis. And I've always been a proponent of dollar cost averaging, but now when you get to a place like this, where silver is now near its 200-day moving average, that it hasn't been there in the last 3 years. The last time it got to this 200-day moving average, it went up 300% from that bottom. So you would look at a huge run-up of silver coming out of this. So this is a very important time to get out of all your other assets out there and into physical silver. And specifically, I've been looking on eBay on Silver Shield. There's a couple coins there that are going for double digits, meaning that they're under $100, and these are rare Silver Shield coins that are out in the market. So this is a good time to go scoop up all these while the sentiment is low, while the price is low, and be able to get out there and go stack a lot more silver. And you should have a lot of confidence going forward that this is just an emotional washout of a parabolic move that silver had, but there's a lot more to come. Donald Trump just said that he loves the inflation and that the inflation rate that they're talking about is 4%. Well, I think it's a lot more than that. If anybody's looked at gas prices, food prices, medical prices, everything's going up double digits. And the only way you're going to be able to protect yourself is to have physical silver to go along with it. In the hyperinflation in Germany, in Weimar, Germany, silver went up, to trillions of marks, where once it was, 80 marks for an ounce of silver and went up to a trillion. And I think that that's what ultimately is going to end up being the death throes of the dollar, that the world is going to reject it, that the debt is going to be too big, that the central banks are going to print a lot of money to keep the markets open and going. And I also think that the markets are responding to this new IPO of SpaceX, where there's a lot of people are selling other different assets out there to go buy this IPO of SpaceX, which I think is going to be very soon. So I think that's what's dragging down the markets right now. But I think once we head out of summer and into the fall, we're going to see silver go back past its all-time highs of nominal high of 120, and probably make a 300% move during that time period, which would bring it up to $180, which would be a lot more than what we're at right now. So that's basically what I see with the silver market going on right now.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna get into we're gonna do public release first.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with the Saint Michael. Now, for this design, what made sense to turn this into the public? Like, what was your
I
reason?
think it's because it's the most accessible design that I have out there for this week. Uh, Talking about Saint Michael is the last angel to defeat Satan, and that's really what I think Silver Shield is trying to do, is to get people out of all the digital illusions of wealth that are enabling the debt and death paradigm. And I think that having Saint Michael there as a coin for people to have, because the quality that you're going to see on it when you get delivered is going to be unlike anything else out there on the market. And I think that that's a great public release that we're doing this week that I'm very excited about.
Now, Saint Michael represents, protection, courage, spiritual warfare. Which part of that story of Saint Michael were you trying to capture in this strike?
Definitely the defeat of Satan. This is not the first design that I've done with Saint Michael, but I think it's probably the most closest design that I've done with him, meaning that it's zoomed in on him. It's not so far back, because the other coin that I did with him showed him, basically driving across through the skull of Satan, defeating him, and that's what I'm looking for. Is that we have this whole world built off of debt and death. Everybody's suffering under this inflationary satanic slavery that we have going on right now. And I think silver is going to be the means of transferring your wealth out of all these digital illusions of wealth that are enabling the worst in humanity to drive wars and poverty and dislocation of people all over the world. And I think that this coin is going to be like emblematic of a way of resisting against that. By taking your money out of the system and putting it into physical silver, you're enabling, I think, the best of all people, and then we're all going to eventually lift ourselves out of this with people buying up all the physical silver until it sells out. Once we have control over the silver market, you'll take control of the money, the banking, the markets, the governments, the everything. It all comes back down to physical silver in the end, and I think this coin is going to be one of these ones that are going to be held on the other side when this all comes to vision. People are going to look back and want one of these St. Michael coins, and that they're only available for 1 week only. So once they're out there, it'll be held by the strongest hands out there who may or may not ever put it on the secondary market like eBay. That's why I keep telling people, now that the silver price is down, and premiums are high on the retail level, this is a good time to go out and go collect all the weak hands off of eBay. All the double-digit silver shields should be bought up immediately by a few people even listening to this. And once this message does get out, I once had a YouTube channel with 173,000 subscribers, and now we're down to under 1,000 here. But we're going to make our way back because this is the biggest story that I think is ever going to play out when silver sells out and we have a hyperinflation, and that people see um, that silver was the way. I think that silver shield coins the smallest microcosm, we're the most extreme end of all silver stacking. Will be world famous and the most collected treasure I think that will be out there, held by the strongest and smartest people on the other side.
Now, for me, this coin feels like a shield, not only for financial uncertainty, but against just uncertainty but spiritual and moral uncertainty
Mm-hmm.
too. So, is that also part of the message, not just the financial part
Well, see,
of how you're?
the thing about silver is that it's the nexus of all sorts of power. It's the nexus of banking power, political power, military power, technological power, corporate power, banking power, uh, investment. But one thing that I think is missing, and I'm trying to foment, is spiritual power, and that by putting, I've done Christ is King designs. I've done over 30 designs of Christ on silver. I've done a couple with Saint Michael, and this one's going to be probably the most popular of them. But these coins end up becoming holy relics that are going to be available for 1 week only, but will be treasured forever. And I think that I'm trying to build up a spiritual demand of this silver because I'm telling people that stacking physical silver is the only way we're going to defeat this evil. The system is too rigged, too bought up, bought and paid for. And so long as we allow these bankers to create money out of thin air, they will buy up every single politician, media, uh, all this other stuff to maintain control up until the point where we sell out physical silver. And once we sell out physical silver, they will put it all in the hands of I feel, the God-fearing people out there who want to fight against the satanic slavery that has been enabled for 2,000 years since they nailed Christ onto the cross. So I think that this coin is going to help Silver Shield build up the spiritual value of silver over and above all other physical silver that you could be buying out there today.
All right, so let's go jump into the members only release.
Mm-hmm.
So that one also has Michael in it,
Yeah.
so Michael Silver.
Yeah.
But from what I kind of see, it does feel different energy from it.
Mm-hmm.
So what sparked the design and the backing for that?
It's basically a mock of Michael Saylor, he's the poster boy for Bitcoin, and he's done a couple of these bubbles where he's taken his company and leveraged it up and did all sorts of financial maneuvers to basically keep a Ponzi scheme going, and then eventually it'll pop, just like Bitcoin is. And I've been a anti-Bitcoin since the moment I heard about it, and I was recruited in 2011 by multiple people who were involved in Bitcoin very early on. They tried to basically say that I didn't understand it, and I kept saying that it's a Ponzi scheme, and I didn't care if it was $1 million Ponzi scheme, which it was at the time, $1 billion Ponzi scheme, which eventually got to, and $1 trillion Ponzi scheme. I don't want any part of it because it's not the way, and it stood in opposition to what I was trying to do, is to get people into physical silver. So for 15 years, I've had to watch Bitcoin go through the roof. Everybody spend
tons of money for this imaginary currency that is a Ponzi scheme at the very end. And basically now we're watching it starting to deflate. And I think that's not only is Bitcoin going to go down to zero, I think Bitcoin's actually going to go negative, where it's going to have negative value attached to it, where it's going to cost you more than you actually invest in there, because Bitcoin is a public ledger that has been co-opted by the CIA and created by the NSA, and that governments, when they finally use the true power of it, will use the blockchain chain to track and trace, tax and trap all criminality that was done on the blockchain. So you have to think about all the money laundering that goes in behind all the physical crimes out there, the organ harvesting, sex trafficking, human trafficking, organ trafficking, the the other times where the criminals ransom and they want to be paid in Bitcoin. It's all on a public ledger, and I think that when that ends up going on, is going to end up costing you more than you invested in physical silver, with civil asset forfeiture, tax evasion, and money laundering. That will result in jail time, you losing your assets, all this other stuff. So I've told people to stay away from it for 15 years. Meanwhile, this guy has turned into a billionaire. So I tried to come up with a design to say, hey, what would be the greatest transference of investors than to get Michael Saylor into physical silver? And that's what I'm trying to get people out of Bitcoin while there's still liquidity there, and get it into physical silver, and most specifically into physical silver shield.
Yeah, and the design itself, I mean, when people see it later today, I mean, it's pretty awesome design, and you do have there's a lot of detail in it, the wordings, writings. So you have on it like new gold, never second, Michael Silver on it.
And fuck Bitcoin.
Yeah. So and they're over the mouth, silver tattoos, the chain, Bitcoin references. So as somebody purchasing a coin, seeing a coin, touching it, what details? I know probably all of them, I assume, but is there anything that you would want something to stand out of the coin to get somebody kind of thinking,
Yeah.
or is
Again, this
there?
is all about converting
Yeah.
imaginary digital illusion of wealth money into real physical silver. And that silver shield is at the very pinnacle of $2.5 quadrillion worth of Exeter's pyramid. John Exeter was a central banker for the Federal Reserve, and he came up with this liquidity pyramid showing that during crises, assets are going to be valued based off of their liquidity and their ability of selling. And at the very bottom is gold, and I put on the very bottom, even before gold, silver. And then you got silver shield, which is this little teeny microcosm of this investor thing that I've done for 15 years. This Michael Silver coin basically to mock Michael Saylor and show what it would take for him to transfer all of his Bitcoin into Silver Shield and go full into it. And I don't know. I like the idea that it says fuck Bitcoin on it, and that this is the new gold, and that this is showing a more radicalized version of investor sentiment of people who are going to go all in on Silver Shield to show a radical transformation of Michael Saylor being the biggest Bitcoin proponent. So I hope that this gets some public knowledge out there, or some crypto people to get out of crypto now while there's still liquidity, and before it goes negative, and get into physical silver and Silver Shield in particular.
Now within your coins, something that I think is really neat, you have series, so you have batches of different series, and this one you put into the category of the World War meme series.
Yeah,
Now we haven't really talked. I mean, there'll probably be another episode of you breaking down some series and
yeah.
letting people know about each one. But for this coin itself, the micro silver, what, like in your mindset, what categorized it for the World War meme series? Like, what was your reasoning to put it into that series?
So World War Meme is my biggest series inside Silver Shield, and it's basically where everything goes that I can't fit into another series. But this is World War Meme is the idea that World War III is not going to be a physical war as we tend to think militarily, that it's going to be fought with memes. And it's fought in a mind war. It's a spiritual war. It's a war of mind control. It's a war of changing people's minds and power through there. So having this a part of World War Meme shows that this is a part of what I believe is World War III, World War meme, and that it's a very important part that needs to be explored and supported.
Now, within these two coins, is there a connection with these two?
No, it
No,
was a
these are
coincidence
separate.
that they came
Just a
out at the same
coincidence.
time.
Okay.
I told in the last interview that when I do these designs, I have a pipeline of many coins out there. I've done hundreds of them, over probably 600-700 coins over the last 15 years, that has formed into this collection of unique, very rare. I mean, ultra rare. I look at Pokemon cards going for tens of thousands of dollars, collectible sneakers going for tens of thousands of dollars, and here's this Silver Shield coin at the very tip of $2.5 quadrillion of all the assets out there. That it's at the very tip, even beyond gold, beyond physical silver. There's mini mintage Silver Shield. That's this little series that's going to become, I think, the most treasured series out there on the other side. Once this all happens, that we're going to see a complete collapse of silver, or of the digital illusions of wealth, out of these crypto currencies, out of stocks, out of bonds, out of real estate, and people are going to flee into gold, and then physical silver, and then Silver Shield at the very end of it. And I think these Silver Shield coins are going to reach astronomical levels on the other side.
For these two coins, me as a consumer, how would I be able to purchase this, and where would I be looking to get them for?
So this is a unique business model that nobody else has. That nobody's doing what I'm doing. I'm a individual that's creating eternal treasure, with the greatest truth on it, and no other individual throughout time and history has done what I've done with Silver Shield. I've done over 700 designs probably over the last 15 years, and I release these coins on a weekly basis, two a week, at ChrisDuaneSilverShieldCoins.com. You have to become a member. There's the Silver Shield group. It's the $7 a month support of me and my mission of making silver the best investment out there. If you see a hyperinflation coming and you think silver is going to be the main beneficiary of this and the main way of fighting against the satanic system, and also the way of protecting your family from the coming hyperinflation, Silver Shield is going to be the most important, most teeny microcosm at the very tip of $2.5 quadrillion of market liquidity out there. And that at some point that this market's going to break out, where silver's going to sell out, silver's going to become unobtainium, silver's going to be the most treasured asset on earth, and that Silver Shield's going to be the most collected of all of them, because I've been here for 15 years putting in physical silver all the truth out there. I've done conspiracies, I've done COVID vaccines, I've done inflation, I've done all sorts of topics, and that these coins are going to be held by the most wealthy and wisest people on earth. I think that the silver stackers are going to become the new kings in the ashes of central banks, corporations, and governments, that they're going to be the new power that's going to rise, and that their physical silver stacks are going to be bigger than what the King of England had even 800 years ago. So this is a big picture that's going to be playing out, and that you're lucky to be hear about this, to be a part of it right now. And you can buy basically Silver Shield coins at retail prices on a weekly basis at ChrisDuaneSilverShieldCoins.com. There's a public version that anybody can buy. You can go there and go to the Golden Statements website, who produces this, and we basically pre-sell all the mintages, so there's no overhang of mintages, that would suppress the price, and then it's only held in the hands of the physical stackers out there, who may or may not go onto eBay and sell them, but when they do it at a higher price than you'll be able to pay at our website on a weekly basis. So join the Silver Shield group, and it'll help keep you disciplined enough to stack on a weekly basis what I think is the best value out there. I know that the premiums on Silver Shield coins are a little higher than what you're used to paying for boring government bullion, but I've done this over 15 years, where the price of as the price of silver goes up, Silver Shield coins go up faster than the underlying silver, and when the prices go down, like we're seeing now, Silver Shield coins hold their value as collector premiums, that they don't suffer as much as what you would be doing if you got regular government bullion. So this is my way of weaponizing the process of buying physical silver to fight against the satanic slavery system of debt and death, and also protect your family from the ravages of hyperinflation. I think that silver stackers and Silver Shield Group in particular are going to be able to pay off their friends and families' mortgages, car payments, uh, medical bills. People are racked with student loan debts. I just saw somebody who's got $160,000 worth of student loans that will never be paid off. Can't get a bankruptcy, and that the only way out of this is going to be a hyperinflation in the end, and that silver is going to be worth, if it follows anything like it did in Weimar Germany, Venezuela, or Zimbabwe, the complete collapse of the dollar will have silver going to be worth trillions of dollars, and that 1 ounce of physical silver will be able to pay off for a mortgage, a student loan, medical bills, all this other stuff. It's a way of uh, protecting yourself against nominal inflation, but also hyperinflation. I think is coming for everybody in the end.
All right, Chris, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time today, especially for this episode Behind the Strike. So just to let everyone know, this week, today, 6/11, at noon, we're going to have 2 releases coming out. We have Saint Michael, available for the public. We also have Michael Silver, available for Silver Shield group members. Public is, of course, free for the public. Member, we're looking at $7 a month, or you could actually purchase for a 1-year membership and save a couple dollars. If you like to do a 1-year purchase at one shot. You're going to go to ChrisDuane, SilverShieldCoins.com. Check out the 2 releases, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.